Welcome to Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact. Each episode will cover legacy, hope, Black joy, funding sources, cultural shifts, equality, and so much more. We will provide inspiration and action while spreading some joy to a thriving community of Black business owners and leading thought leaders.
I am Larvetta Lofton, your host and the founder of the L3 Agency.
Known as the brand maven who transforms organizations with her storytelling prowess, meet Larvetta L. Lofton, host of Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. You all know we've been working on this season on mentorship and the value of mentorship and bringing some mentees of some of the mentors that have been on this season. So I want to be honest with you all, it's been a tough season for us merely because it's hard to book the mentees. And so we were just having that conversation. But nevertheless, we got a mentee in the studio today who you guys are going to be in for a treat because he just came in, chill, laid back, was like, hey. So I think this particular episode is just going to be very laid back, you know, chill on a Saturday. Maybe you chilling on your way to your office because this young man really made me feel old, guys, because when I told him how long I've known, as you guys have probably heard Stewart's episode, if you haven't, I encourage you to listen to his episode. Scott Stewart, really listen to his episode, but this is his mentee. And I said, oh, I met him in 99. He was like, I wasn't born then. That kind of, as they say, clutched my pearls. I was like, ouch. I was like, oh my gosh, he just made me feel so old. So, but I'm okay with that. I really am, because we get to bring him to the studio to talk about all his greatness and all the things that he, along with his wife, have been able to do in a very fun, young way. They're a young couple. And so the fact that they've been able to accomplish a lot, and he's now 31, about to be 32. I think that speaks volume. And so I am so proud to introduce this mentee of this segment of mentorship and the power of being mentored, and the fact that he is here with us. So he goes, and his real name, which I asked him, I was like, you got some dice with him. So that was my thing, because his name is Dice Granberry. I think that's a powerful name. Dice Granberry. I went to school with a young lady. Her last name was Grandberry. Grew up on the west side of Chicago. For those of you all that are from Chicago, you all know we love the west side, even though we are from the south side, that there is love on the west side as much as there is love on the other sides, right? It's the south side, and I guess the north side, and I guess it's the east side, whatever. But he's from the west side, where his passion for music and entrepreneurship flourished. Along with his wife, he co-founded a successful trucking company. Dice's commitment to personal growth led him to progress like Europe. Europe. I actually supported some of the folks at Europe, so it's a great organization, and Public Allies, AmeriCorps, enhancing his business acumen and leadership skills. As a devoted father of 3, Dice is dedicated to expanding his business and creating more opportunities for his community. His journey reflects a blend of resilience, innovation, and a strong, this is what happens. My screen stopped. Hold on. This is what happens when technology plays on your, emotions, and a strong drive to uplift those around him. Welcome to the show, Dice.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Dice Granberry.
That was a great introduction. I appreciate that.
Yes, I love the name Dice. So, any background? What does it mean? Do you know? Or where did the parents come up with Dice?
So, Dice is the new name.
Okay.
I can't give you guys my previous name.
Oh, man.
So
we can't get none of the juice in the tea?
Grandberry is my father. They came from my father's side.
Okay.
So,
of course, that's your father's name, right? Grandberry.
Right.
Okay.
I can go back all the way to Sylvester. That's my great granddaddy.
Wow.
Peace be upon him. I
Okay.
don't say RP, peace be upon him.
Okay.
But Dice is a nickname that I had as a kid,
Okay.
and it became a stage name.
Okay.
Then it became the present name.
Okay.
Determined individual creating empowerment.
Wow.
So,
Wait, Dice, you got to go back and give it to us give it to us one more time. Dice, give it to us.
So Dice is determined individual creating empowerment.
Ooh. Okay. I love that. Did you come up with that?
One of my friends had shout out to E. Davis.
Okay.
He was like, man, you determined all these qualities that I had. He was like, you could put this together because it was always an acronym.
Yeah.
So
I love
he helped
it.
me come up with it.
Okay. Because we are so an entertainer, producer. So tell me some of that background. Like Dice is a little boy. Like before he got to be this 31-year-old building this company alongside his wife.
So Dice is a little boy. I grew up in the North Lawndale area.
Oh, okay.
Majority of my family was in the Austin community.
Okay.
Grew up with both of my parents.
Okay.
They're still here with me. Thank you,
Yes,
Mama. Thank
praise
you, Daddy.
God. Yes, thank you, Mama. Thank you, Daddy.
The area I grew up in was on a boulevard. It's like Douglas Boulevard. So they call it the Holy City.
Yep. My parents are from the West Side, so that's how I know a little bit of the West
Yeah,
Side.
so every day is violence. You know, it's shootouts, it's drugs, it's poverty, you know, and when you see these things, it help you create imaginary land. So every day we stayed in low income. So it was like a brick wall by my window, me and my brother window. And I could never see sunshine. Never. And as I grew up, I said, one day I'm gonna see the sun, I'm gonna see the grass, everything that I manifest. I was kind of writing it down as a kid. I used to watch Doug Funny, if y'all familiar with that cartoon.
I don't know Doug Funny, but okay, tell us
So,
more.
I write down what I want, and as time prevailed, it was happening.
Yeah.
So manifestation, it was a real thing for me growing up as a kid and getting to this point.
Yeah.
So
Did you growing up, did you go to public school?
yeah, I went to Lathrop Academy.
Okay.
That's on Christiana.
Okay.
I graduated from Austin Polytechnic Academy.
Okay.
You know, that's on 23 North Pine. It's on in the Austin community.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And where was your dream? I love that you were learning how to manifesting things at a young age, knowing that you were under, you know, in an area that was very stressed, right? Very much violent. From that standpoint, who taught you that? Where did you get that from?
That's a great question. I want to say having a father kind of shaped my reality because everybody around me didn't have a dad. So my daddy was always on me about praying and, you know, it get greater later, you know, and my daddy got a lot of brothers. So my uncles was telling me to save. It was like a lot of positivity with the men. And I think that's what created the manifestation. Like, okay, I got to put my mind where I want to be at, and then my body will pull up present. So,
That's good. I mean, because here's the thing. We don't hear that narrative, right? We hear mom. You said dad. And I think that's powerful that dad, you know, and never to downplay mom. It's never, and that's the problem.
Yeah, you don't give my mama curse me.
I'm not. And so we're going to give mom love, but I think we've heard that narrative.
Yeah.
The mom is amazing. We know that, right?
Moms are wonderful.
All the time. I mean, I can tell you as someone who grew up with a mom and dad, like that's the thing. Like I couldn't have it without mom and dad, you know?
Exactly.
And so I think we've heard the narrative, the single parent, the mama, right? Just the mama. It's time for the story of the mom and the dad to build an incredible soul like yourself. and to be able to manifest at such a young age, I think it's just powerful. Like you saw greatness ahead of you. You saw sunshine. You was like, I'm going to have sunshine and I'm going to make sure that happens. Yes. Now that you are now, and so based on that, what did you have as a vision for yourself inside that, like as a profession? Like, did you see yourself as an entrepreneur? Kind of where did that come from? And I know Scott comes in there too.
So at the age of 6, my older brother, one of my oldest brothers, he told me to do a hook for him for his music. Mm-hmm. I never seen the passion of music.
Okay.
My vision was being an officer. And
police officer?
Yes.
Wow.
That's my first dream that I had. But however, as I got to a certain age and I seen how the police brutality was, I kind of shifted.
Okay.
And then growing up on the West Side, you see nothing but hustlers. Mm-hmm. You see the drugs. Mm-hmm. You see barbershops. You see car washes. You see everybody making money. What's the word I'm looking for? They bringing the money into them. Mm-hmm. So they not on the clock. They just bringing the money in. I forgot the word that I'm looking for.
That's what it'll come to you.
That's where the entrepreneurial spirit came from.
So watching the street hustlers, basically, right?
Yeah.
It taught you that you too can build a profitable business that's not selling drugs,
not
right?
selling drugs, not cutting hair. I can make the same money y'all doing, but I don't got to do nothing to risk my freedom. So you got music, you got different ways to bring it in. But some people do it this way because they didn't understand the business, or they didn't have a mentor, or have people to lead them in the right way.
And how important do you think young men, young women, right, all people, how important is it to have a mentor? Coming from someone who is a mentee.
It's 100% important. And the word that I was looking for is commission.
I knew you were going to get it. I knew you were.
That's the word I was looking for. It's 100% important to have a mentor. And actually, I'm not a person who is, I want to say friendly. I'm not open unless you open. I'll start breaking out of my shell a little more. But my father told me to get a mentor.
Your father told you?
He the one who told me to get a mentor. So that's awesome. When I opened up to Stu and Michael Levesque.
Nice.
So yeah.
And what was that process? How did that work? Just so that people maybe your age are like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't really see, like, I was this. I mean, I made some mistakes. Or, what could you tell just a generation that just has that anxiety over getting a mentor?
That's crazy. I got a little sister who in college right now. And I see that a lot of people are more in the shell. Find out what you want to do in life and find a person who aligns with that.
Yes.
It's a lot of people who say, I just said car wash and barbershops.
Yep.
So if you want to own a barbershop, find a mentor that's in a barbershop and hire him to shadow you around. If you want to own a car wash, do the same thing.
Yeah.
Find people and, conversate with them.
Yeah.
That's how money is built, through conversations and relationships.
That's so true. I mean, I don't expect anything else when you have Scott as your mentor. So I don't expect anything. So on the music side, are you the writer, producer? Like, what's your role on the music side?
So with the music, I kind of dabble with it all.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I do some writing.
Okay.
I do some recording.
Okay.
I'm not a producer, but I listen to the beat.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, this sound good with this song.
And do you make your beats?
No, I don't.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
My cousin used to make them.
Okay.
He passed away last year.
I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that.
He was our mini fresh.
Wow.
Let's just say that. Great artist. Michael Tate production.
Wow, gone too soon.
Yeah.
But left you here to continue on.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And when I think about like this music, you building to get a mentor, let's talk about how did we get to building a trucking business in addition to music?
So the trucking business come from a skill. I was told by Michael Levesque, my other mentor, skills pay bills.
Ooh, can we sit with that for a minute? Can we just sit? Let's just take a breath.
We can. Let me take a sip of this tea.
Yes. Dice, say that again so people can really understand that.
Skills pay bills.
Yeah.
When he shared that with me, I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
So as you get older, I start developing a better craft for myself. Like, okay, you see the Army commercial, be all you can be. I don't want to go to the Army, but I'm about to learn this, learn that, do this and do that. So I learned them skills, and it led me to driving. I started off driving for my mama every day to the store.
Okay.
Then driving, my daddy taking me around the block driving. Next thing you know, I end up getting my CDL.
Okay.
To provide for my first child.
Nice.
I took those skills and I said, hey, I can use this and create this.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, as everybody know, most of these companies was down and everything. While the companies was down, I was up. I was creating. I was writing books. I was writing my life, like I said, manifestation. So I created the trucking company. I didn't do it alone. My wife was a big help on it because as I'm creating, I'm coming with these ideas, writing them and telling her. We made everything push forward. We started Blue Aura LLC.
I love the name Blue Aura. Tell us what it means.
Blue Aura is it's like a partnership with Unrivaled Aura. That's my cousin label. He's the 15th district of the Austin community.
Okay.
DeAndre Rudis.
Okay.
We did music, and when we created Unrivaled Aura, I loved it that it's like unequal energy. So Blue Aura is a form of communication. So it's like now we talking.
Yep.
Blue, the color blue is like a communication color.
Yeah.
So the energy is, you gonna feel my energy through the music or through the trucking, anything that I do.
Oh, and it creates safety.
Yes.
A safe space. And we all know we want safety on the roads to be able to do that. And so for you to be able to like build and go and say, hey, we're going to start this business, because I love that you say skills pay bill, like that right there. You just blessed me with that, because so based on that, based on what you say that was told to you, do you believe that there is a limit to skills as far as age?
No.
Tell me why.
The reason why is because depending on what you want to do.
Right.
Company's not going to hire no 50-year-old, well, I say an 80-year-old man.
I was about to say, you talking about me now.
Nah, I ain't. No offense to you, my mother. I don't want to go back. My father, right? What you say, dog? Won't nobody hire an 80-year-old man to do a job, right?
Right.
But who said that 80-year-old man can't start the business?
That's
you know what
good.
I'm saying? So it's,
talk to these older folks like it doesn't mean that you can't start it, but
my father is the prime example. I know my father had a heart attack in 2022. He just closed on his house.
Wow.
He had a heart attack. I was with him the whole time. He healed.
Man.
His job had to make him retire. So he's sitting around. He's like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, Dad, you got all these skills. So let's create your LLC. Let's get your EIN.
Wow.
Let's get this going. And then he started working for my company because when nobody hiring him because they were like, yeah, you still a heart patient, you lifting and all that.
Yep.
Now he working for my company. You can't, I'm your son. I ain't going to turn you down.
Right.
So the ideas that people have at an old age or a younger age, just create a business out of it and make it work.
Dope. I love that you say that, because to your point, I mean, I think that sometimes we believe I'm too old, or what about those people? And I say this because they say I'm 50, right? Or 55. And I feel like, I should have. They live with man, I wish I had done this. Oh, I wish I had done this. Oh, I always wanted to do that. What do you tell some of them, like your mentors who are at that age?
We all had I still have it right now.
See?
But it's all about making time.
Ooh.
My barber, me and him was talking yesterday, and I told him, I said, you got to make time for yourself. The hardest thing is to commit to a time for yourself.
Do you think, so speaking of which, we're a little bit, not necessarily off topic, but I think it's necessary. Do you believe that the fact that you share that is that a man thing? Like, do you find that men don't make the time?
I think this Phil. I think us as men, we have a lot to juggle as men. Mm-hmm. And no disrespect to any other ethnicity, but
right.
Especially as black men.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we step out our threshold, you got bills, people trying to sell you stuff, you got to buy things, so it's a lot. So we don't really make time for ourselves, because if you lock into a job or you lock into a relationship, it's hard to balance those out. Mm-hmm. We're not taught at a young age to focus on this and focus on that. Mm-hmm. We just put out there, and then we just got to find our way. Yeah. So that's what's hard for a man.
And I think but also, do you feel, and I know you're the generation that's young, do you feel like, so like Dice, like I feel like I didn't see my dad, like my dad just worked. Like, did he sit down? It was work and you should do this. You better do this. But not like, let me go and get a massage. Let me go read a book. Let me, let's go to my friend's house and, get high, whatever, right? But it was not like, hey, I'm going to go to my friend's house. We're going to talk about a business. We didn't see that. And so do you think because of that is why we struggle within Black communities for Black men, because you didn't necessarily see that thing kind of be met? And not did you even see it to be like, you looked at it like, he doing what? Because some of it, and I'm using the word, do not judge me, but it's something, it was, that's some gay stuff. Nobody do that. So how are we seeing that today?
Well, I think that everybody is transitioning into understanding money. So men going out to do these things, it's like, okay, what is he doing it for? And if you put $1 in front of anything, everybody runs to it. Mm-hmm. But like Stu told you in the last podcast, I'm not about the money. I want to see what you're going to offer to help me make more money. Mm-hmm. And that's what Black men stuck at. They just stuck at this $1. And that's how it always been back then. Mm-hmm. But now, moving into this generation, people starting to sit back, listen, and learn. Mm-hmm. That's why you got so many credit gurus and Toro gurus and people buying these courses, because now they want to mimic what they see on the internet or what they see on a platform with money. So they want what the other person has.
That's good. So do you think that, I was told once that we don't have a shortage of money, we have a shortage of skills.
I agree. I agree, because, coming from where I come from, coming from Chicago, period, how many schools that teach financial literacy?
Yeah.
Or even teach entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
We got everything backwards. Like, we eating greens and drinking milk. Does that make sense?
That's good.
So it's like, the skills that we supposed to have,
Yeah.
we got to go discover it on our own.
Yeah. I think it's funny. My best friend said, you were like the one person I used to carry out this. I don't carry my checkbook, but I used to do a ledger. And I'd be like, let me take the money out because I want to make sure I had the money in my bank before I was pretty good at that. But I think it was because one of the things that my late mother said, she said, don't spend what you don't have. So when I was into credit and going to college and getting those credit cards, and I was like, Mom, they gave me credit cards. She was like, they didn't give you anything. They want you to buy. And I couldn't, I was, young enough like, oh, no, Ma, they gave it to me. No, they didn't give you anything. They want you to buy so that they can take from you. And I was so like, no. And of course, run my credit card, run it up. And then I got to pay it down and had all this debt. And you experience that. But one of the things that I do believe, and you tell me this, is that how do we tell a generation, right? Because I'm part of the auntie generation, right? Where we're the aunties in the community. How do we tell, as mentors and aunties, how do we tell young generation, don't do what I did?
You can't.
Okay.
You can't.
Thank you.
You
Thank
can't.
you.
The reason why you can't, because it's only a few of us that's gonna listen. People is not living past 30.
That's true.
31. You can't tell me nothing. You an old head. I'm trying to get to where y'all at, so I'll sit back and listen. I'm the one that's soaking up the game. Like, hey, y'all go ahead. I'm about to go over here.
So for those that want it will come to you. But those that don't try to convince them, don't try to persuade them. Don't, because it's just not going. It's not going to resonate. Yeah, I think that's great advice. You're listening to Black Businesses Matter, and we will continue our conversation in a second. But first, take a listen to this special message for our BBM fam.
We know how important it is to stay connected, so why not join our BBM Fam Club for special announcements and exclusive offers by texting BBM FAM to 312-300-1300. That's BBM FAM to 312-300-1300 today. Now let's get back to Black Businesses Matter.
And that's what we've been talking about, like, right? The mentor is also, the mentee can also mentor, and that it's an interchangeable role, that it's not a set role, which is why we think it's important to understand that you bring a tremendous amount of value to the space in the addition to the mentor does, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Experiences are different, but I think innovation is what makes it very different, right?
Yeah.
Because you grew up in a space, we grew up where there was a telephone, there was a newspaper, it was all of that. You grew up in a generation that was like, what's a newspaper, And so getting that level of information, and the interesting thing about it, Dice, was that, I always say that social media is the same today as a neighbor who tells you, it's a fire down the street. It's the same thing. The only difference is we're allowing them to track us, to track our behaviors, track our things. Whereas when you told that neighbor, when you tell that neighbor, hey, it's a fire, nobody's tracking me. Nobody's telling me. And the difference is that's what people don't understand. It was meant to share information, but the difference is they're tracking us. And that's what makes it very, I don't want to call it complicated, but it is.
You was absolutely right. Everything of the present was once a thing of the past.
Yep.
But it was an evolution to it.
Yeah.
Like we pick up our iPhone. You pick up this iPhone
and Android.
15. Yeah, and Android. But think about it. What was 10 years ago? I say iPhone because
I know.
iPhone came out like Jordans. It keep coming.
Yeah.
We got 16 on the way. I'm like, I just bought the 13.
But I got a 24, just so you know. Just put it out there. But I was an iPhone user first, so you're right. You're right.
So yeah, you was absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it goes to pick up what you just said about credit and how you said your mama said they want you to have it. That's another thing. Like I said, we don't understand that. So now they got all this credit information. You got to understand credit came in the game in 1913. And okay, let's go back to history and understand the federal banking and see how this stuff was structured and understand these codes. Ain't nobody going to sit down and read that.
No.
And, you know, they'll look at me crazy because I'm studying it right now, like how to remove the negative items. You know, I got friends who told me about authorized users that you can buy. So understanding that and understanding social media and understanding how everything is programmed, you will use it and operate it better.
Yep. And I think, you know, again, you mentioned to me that you built your trucking business on your own money, on your own dime. And I think that that's powerful. And I want you to just add to your table is using other people's money. Because one of the things that, like you said, from a cultural standpoint, we, within, you know, Black communities and Black entrepreneurs, most of us do all of that. We build our companies with our own money, whether it's, you know, the shoe money, the shoebox money, the savings over here. I got laid off, so here's the rest of the money that they pay me. We do that. But what we have to understand is we have to leverage other people's money to be able to create wealth creation. Because what happens is, right, here's the thing. When we leave this earth, guess what? The business is gone, right? So guess what? The debt is gone. We have never heard that. The business is gone. Now, in the world that we want to live on, we want there to be a strategy so that, you know, kids can take over, you know, siblings can take over. But universally, it was our way out. But once mama, daddy died, the business died with it.
You know what? I am glad you brought this topic up. And I know I might sound, this probably throw people off when I speak about this.
That's okay, Dice.
I understood that too. Like I said, I started to understand things. What they say, a smart man learn from others' mistakes. A wise man learn. Wait, I think it's
the reverse.
It's reverse. So I was that wise man. So I understand that my business is only gonna run if I'm running it, right? So now I got 3 kids. My son is the youngest.
What are their ages?
I got a 10-year-old, I got a 3-year-old, and I got a 1-year-old.
Oh wow, nice.
So I bought a family trust.
Nice.
Give y'all some gems on this.
Yeah.
You got revocable and you got irrevocable.
Yeah.
So you want to make it a private trust. So if anything should happen to me or my wife, that business still gonna go.
Yeah.
So I put all the cars in a LLC, put the LLC inside the trust, let everything keep going.
Yep.
The trust gonna outlive you because they live for 100 years.
Yep.
Now,
good for you, Dice.
So it's understanding that. What they say, your flesh might die, but the spirit still live
yeah,
on.
That's right. It does.
My spirit still gonna be here. Blue Aura still gonna be here. What if it's Dice the 16th? I set it up that way.
That's awesome. I mean, that, once again, was there a mentor that helped you in that space?
No. No mentor helping me with the trust. It's something that I sit back and I was like, man, I wonder how the Rothschilds did this, you know, the 13 bloodlines. I was looking at all this and I was like, okay, how can I still be here even if I'm not here physically? Yeah. So
good for you. I mean, he just dropped a whole gem with y'all today to let you all know that, you know, that's something else that we have to think about. And a lot of times we don't hear that story when it comes to Black business owners. We're not hearing stories that they are preparing for that day where they're transitioning. But to your point, your spirit lives on. And I'm a firm believer, a lot of that culturally within the baby boomers, you know, they're gone and the business is gone. Which is why when you look at the South and West Side and you look at properties, those were once led by Black business owners. But because there was no strategy on how do we protect this when mom or dad can't. But the problem was they weren't thinking that far, right? They were just in that space of, look, we got some wealth, we gonna keep it here. But realizing that that's the fact that the businesses are there is that ultimately they died off and nobody set up to say, well, where does that building go to? Who does that go? Okay, how do we do this? And then we talk about, of course, the crabs in the barrel, right? And then that becomes, and so we've been manifest. So when you look at our communities on the South and West Side, it was because there was so much wealth. And then guess what? Economies changes and families die. And when that happens, what happens is that business, to your point, doesn't live. I think in Chicago, I can't remember, Dice, but we had like a ridiculous number of like funeral homes. Like, I mean, it was like funeral homes was probably next to liquor. It was a lot. There's probably maybe a fourth of those because they were good businesses, but they were run, tied to a church. The church kind of doesn't exist anymore. Then the funeral home doesn't exist. But they worked very well together. Where do we see that today? Right? So we don't understand just kind of how that. So if you look at that today, that particular partnership or collaboration is not even a big thing anymore. You have some, but you've got church, viable funeral homes. And I don't want to say this, but we have to think about it. We got to have that conversation. Like, that's real. And realize that we also had owned a lot. And it's been a while, but it's probably been like 15 years. I was just doing some work and it was like, we had one almost on every corner. And they weren't all big, but they had enough where people could come in there, have a proper ceremony, proper celebration, move on. But then they used the church sanctuary to have it, and then they did their stuff there. But you go down the street, you don't see that no more. I mean, you might pay attention to it a little bit West Side, but I know you don't see them anymore.
No, I move all around through the city, not just the West Side.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't. You don't. And you know what? As you speaking about the businesses and all that, it's so much information. It's like I wish I can pour all of it out.
I know.
But you're right. You was absolutely right. People don't study about the demolition properties in Chicago. You can go buy you a building for $500, $600. Go get you a loan, FHA loan, and rehab it.
Yep.
Sell that building and make more. That's how they gentrified our neighborhoods.
Yep.
But people, and it's crazy, it's my age group, we not looking at that.
Y'all not? So that's troubling because I feel like you all have way more access to the resources to do it.
We don't want it. I ain't gonna say we. Some don't want it.
Yeah, some don't want it. It goes back to skills, right? You got to learn the skills to be able to pay the bills. Like when you said that, I'm like, I love that.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's sadness, but I realize I'm just getting to the point where I'm tapping into my spiritual reality. Like I can't control other people.
You can't.
And I can't get mad if they don't want to do it and all that. So I had to leave a lot of people behind.
But that's part of elevation. Yeah. When you elevate, one of my mentors said, if anyone says, oh my gosh, you've changed, you tell them, thank you for noticing. Because we believe that there's something wrong with that. Oh, yeah. When, you used to hang out with us. They said, no, because so your circle of friends will change as you grow. And that doesn't mean, I'm affirming, it doesn't mean that you are better than them, but you are better, period.
Yeah. I like what T.I. said, the tree don't hang with the grass.
No.
Even though they came from the same place. I love it that. And that's the reality of life.
It is. And we have to be okay with leaving people behind. And what I've learned, and I could tell you this as someone who mentors, but also has, incredible mentees who mentor me. one of the things that I've learned is someone told me, don't ever be in a business, don't ever build a company where your statement is, we always do it like this. Well, we've done this in the past. Maybe we need to look at it a little bit different, because if you don't, then you're going to continue to see the world change because you still doing, we always did that. So, Stu said something I think was powerful, actually, that I implemented, because that's the kind of dude we got, right? Yeah. He was like, he used GPS for everything. And I was like, I know where I'm going. He said, but isn't sometimes it'd be better that somebody else gets to tell you where to go and it helps you to see things differently? I was like, oh my gosh. But I didn't see it like that, because in my mind, I'm a little bit arrogant. Like, I know where I'm going. I don't need GPS. Right. And his opportunity was that it allows for you to not have to lead that side, and somebody else tells you what to do so that you could really soar in another area. I never saw it like that. I never saw it like that.
Stu be dropping
Don't
gems.
he drop some?
I love you, Aunt.
I know. I love it. So, guys, we appreciate, and I'm just going to say this, Dice, we do a moment which we call is the brag. It's the BBM brag Black Businesses moment. So it's like BBM, it's your bragging moment. And so it's an opportunity for you to brag about the things you got going on. You could just tell everybody what you got going on, and you could just brag for a minute.
Oh, man, I hope I ain't bragging too much.
No, that's bragging. The whole purpose. We don't get people to brag enough, so we want you to brag.
Being married, that's an accomplishment.
Yes, congratulations.
I'm learning everything in marriage, so thank God for that. Thank God for my kids. Yes. I just had my first boy.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm going to say his name, say all my kids' name, but Faraje.
Faraje, that's pretty. That's pretty. I'm sorry, that's cool. I mean, it's still pretty though.
Yeah. He gave me energy and hope.
That's awesome.
He gave me a lot of energy, hope, and love.
Mm-hmm. What are the two kids, the two girls' names?
Melanin and Brooklyn.
Melanin and Brooklyn. Yeah. Those are pretty too.
So I got my BMF. That Brooklyn is the oldest, Melanin is the second, and Faraja is the end.
Oh, well, you do. You have your BMF. Yeah, I love it. That's a brag moment. Yeah. Yes.
Let's see. I'm learning more about real estate.
Okay.
Pretty soon. My trucking company is under construction.
Okay.
But 2025, we're going to take off again.
Nice.
The music, it's a few artists that's going to be coming on our new tape. I think it's called Timeless Music. That's coming out next.
Oh, nice.
That's 350. That's 350 Foundation. That's my cousins, all us that do music.
Okay.
So that's coming out next year as well.
Okay.
I didn't speak too much of my entertainment, but I wrote a movie called Rental.
Okay. Rental?
Yeah.
Okay. Like Reynolds Rap?
Like renting a car. I want to say like that. Because it's going, in that movie, I'm kind of going to break down credit. It's going to break down a lot of stuff, but you got to pay attention to it. Because it's going to be a fast movie. So I'm working on that. I've been working on that for a couple of years now.
Okay.
Yeah, just living.
Yeah.
That's a bragging moment right there. Like living, enjoying life and understanding it as you grow with it.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my gosh, I love your energy, Dice. Tell me, why do Black businesses matter?
Black businesses matter because you're keeping $1 in the Black community.
Yeah. And how powerful is that?
It's powerful because you can get a chance to see a Black doctor, you can get a chance to see a Black lawyer, someone that supports you and understands you.
Mm-hmm. That's important. Representation really does matter.
Yes.
From that. And so tell me this, Dice, one of the things, and I try to give people more context on, why that statement or that question is in every show, was because so oftentimes we are being lumped as all the same, right? We all have different textures. We got different views. We got different perspectives. We come from different family backgrounds. Yes. We're not all the same. However, the connection that I do have, that we believe people have, but have never been given permission, is to share the Black joy that we have. Oh, and so that's the things that we care, that we feel like, yep, black, we all this, but we all have black joy. But we weren't given permission, because if you talked about it, that meant that somebody was going to come after you, or, you know, the crabs in the barrel, you know, Jim, like we had that going on. So we don't, you know, and so we thought it was important that the other question that we ask is, what brings you joy?
Family. And when I see another black person happy, successful, growing, you become my family, because we changing the narrative of blacks. And that's what black businesses matter.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was good. And I say this because, you know, the black joy came. I had a guest. Oh, I loved her. And she said that black joy is our currency. And we've never, you know, when I studied slavery, I read a book called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. You know, I couldn't finish it because it's very jarring and triggering, the things that we had to endure. But the one thing that I learned about it was that you didn't, it talks about how moms couldn't, for their sons, they couldn't really talk positively, because if they did, then slave masters would take them from them. So we innately, you know, have inherited, like, we don't speak well of our black men, because if you did, the slave owners, that meant, oh my gosh, he's getting smart. Then we're going to find a way to what? You know, cause him to be choked, a number of things. Like, they wanted to keep you dumb. So a lot of times mom did not celebrate their son's greatness.
You know, and that still goes on to today.
And so my point in saying that is, but the thing that we have to realize is the trauma that's been passed on that we have to deal with. It's going on because we haven't dealt with the fact that if we go back in history and study it, I think we can't undo history, but what we can do is chart a path for the future for it not to happen to us.
1,000,000,000% agree. 1,000,000,000, and I say that all the time to my wife.
Got to. And we have to. So when I started to, because I really wanted to understand, why do we do the things that we do? Like, why are we so, you know, and when you start to understand the why, some of this stuff isn't because mom and dad really innately, whether they cuss their family or whatever the case may be, it's because they saw it from their parents or their parents' parents, and that thing was passed down. Even though, Dice, I don't believe in generational curses, but I do believe in generational trauma. Because I don't think we're cursed if we still are able, you said, but if we're able to live and do something about it, we're not cursed. But we can still identify generational trauma to be able to know that. And I do believe, and that's something that I want to see in the future, some of our generation trauma is also how we've created successful businesses.
Once again, I 1,000,000,000% agree. That's why I attend therapy. I go to therapy.
Oh, good for you.
I journal.
Good for you. Good for you.
That's real.
I think it speaks, and I think it's becoming popular for men, but I'm so glad that you openly said it. And I wasn't expecting you to say that. It's not something I thought, but I love, because I don't think that we understand like how much of our ancestors that we're carrying. We're just carrying it, that we didn't ask for it. And we were like, oh, yep, we're carrying it. And so that is what we show up. And I can say this the same way. The reason why we don't even understand that it bothers us, Dice, is that I just had a procedure done. It was colonoscopy. And one of the things that I listened to what they thought, they had put in their mind the kind of black woman I was. And the questions they asked, I was like, they just saying the same stuff because you're so used to us being all the same. They asked me, I was like, no, I don't eat this. No, I don't eat this. Oh, well, you're going to be. But they were so programmed that it annoyed me because I was just like, so if you don't eat this, if you like, what do you kind of this. But you made so much of assumption that, and I'm saying this for everybody to understand, I love.
Speak your truth.
But I don't eat fried chicken. That's not my thing.
You know
right?
what? I'm glad you said that because I only eat fish
Me too.
and turkey.
Okay, and I don't eat anything but fish.
All my wife and my kids, except for my oldest daughter, they vegetarian.
Okay.
The whole house vegetarian.
See?
So speaking truth.
And we don't understand. So when they gave us the list, when I'm about to get the colon, I don't have. So when he said, well, we wanted to clean, it was like this, but I was like, but I don't have. I mean, no, like I don't have chicken in me. I don't have all this stuff in me.
You got pork in you. You know you got pork in you.
Right. And I feel like they were really trying to see. And I feel like, again, I'm going to say this, guys. It's not their responsibility. It's our responsibility to educate them on us. And so I was frustrated because I was like, they really don't even know how to deal with me.
And that's it's a sad reality, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth with a lot.
Yeah, it's true. And so, guys, this give Dice some love. We are excited that he was on the show. This has just been such a joy to have you, Dice.
Thank you.
Kudos to you on the rebuilding, the pivoting of the trucking business, the real estate business. And so we know that there's so much more in store for you that maybe you're going to come back and tell us some more about the businesses that you're creating and the wealth that you're creating for your family. Yes. You going to come back and see us?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he going to come back because he's a mentee, but he also really dropped some gems for all of us to be able to also see him as our mentor. So, guys, thank you all for rocking with us. We appreciate you. Already know we're on our road to the 100th episode. We have had an incredible run with this season. It's been very different, but what I will tell you is that I've learned a lot. I've had some incredible, outstanding mentees here that I honestly would have never met through life, just because it's just life. So the fact that mentors, we were able to connect to their mentees and connect with, like, it gives me hope to know that the next 30 years, we've got some incredible people coming down and building stuff that, hey, we all might need a job someday, and that we can look at them to be able to have that opportunity. And for you all to keep in mind, Dice Granberry, continue to look out for him. He's got an incredible name. So, when it pops up, because he's worked with some incredible people. He couldn't share it on here, guys. Unfortunately, he couldn't share it. But I just think if you remember his name, that you'll be like, oh my gosh, I heard him on Black Businesses Matter. So thank you all for rocking with us. And until next week, we will bring you another incredible episode of A Black Business. And I would have to say, and a Black entrepreneur, and even some of the advocates that support Black businesses. That's the other thing that we want to do more of, is really try to identify people that really stand and advocate and collaborate for Black businesses. So more to come on this road to 100th episode. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
He really dropped some gems for us this episode. It's so hard to choose just one of those impactful things he said. Since I do have to choose, it would be the conversation about skills and how cultivating and developing those skills can be leveraged later in life. Or as he said, skills pay bills. Take a moment. What are some skills that you have that you think can be transformed into a business? Become a part of our community by texting BBM FAM to 312-300-1300.
The Black Businesses Matter podcast is produced by the L3 Agency, a culturally sensitive influencer, marketing, and communications firm in Chicago, where relationships are our currency, passion is our profit maker, and people are our bottom line. Follow us on Instagram at Black Businesses Matter.